For those of you who have been following my blog, welcome to episode 9, the randomness game. This episode was supposed to be episode 8, but got bumped, and then it got shoved back by episode 10. This episode is not a diversion, so please turn on your closed captioning if you're having problems understanding what I'm saying. You know, I have a son who's just crazy into video games. One regret I have in life is that I never was able to get into video games the way he did. It would have given us a much closer father-son connection. But then, I could never get him to become a sports fanatic like I am. In the balance, it's probably just that we were each too stubborn to meet each other halfway. Still, as his father, the onus was more on me to compromise, and I regret that I didn't. When he was a kid, he used to tell me that his goal was to become a video game designer. Well, he's become an IT consultant. A year or so ago, I proposed this idea to him of a video game based on randomness, but he didn't think much of it. It would seem that there is a lot of randomness in video games, but when you think about it, all modern video games are programmed. Maybe that's why I couldn't get into them versus why I like sports so much. Generally, with video games, you move through various scenarios and up different levels, usually of increasing difficulty. Some of the earliest video games, like Atari's Pong, had a lot of randomness to various parts of the game. You had stuff flying around seemingly randomly, depending on the angle at which they met resistance. Sort of like subatomic particles. It's weird perhaps that as video games have become more complex, they have also become, to my theory at least, less random. How can something that's programmed be random? I guess you can seemingly program it to have random outcomes, but doesn't the possible outcomes have to be programmed into the game for there to be a final outcome? But what if it's possible that we have a game that's not programmed? A game where random scenarios occur, just occur. Is that possible? Every game would be different, sort of like chess. And like chess, and in particular other games based on sports, even though each game is different, achieving a result determines when the game ends and whether you win or lose. We could, for example, have a game whose purpose or goal, like chess, is to capture something, or someone, or some country. Unlike video games, the possible outcomes and strategies and the possible outcomes and strategies and the possible moves aren't programmed. But how do you achieve a purpose or goal or outcome when, as you play the game itself evolves as things happen randomly and the game is different for every player? But then, when you think about it, aren't we all living such a game? The game of life? Life is so random, isn't it? What's the goal or purpose of the game of life? Agent Smith to Neo in Matrix Revolutions. The purpose of life is to end. Neo's reply to Agent Smith. No, the purpose of life is to survive. It is, or at least it always has been. That's the dilemma that mankind faces. It's weird, but to me, survival of the fittest is an inherent conflict that man will have to overcome to survive.